Hi guys, I'm trying this again because I tried it before and I lost audio halfway through and I don't know why. So this time I'm trying with the camera built into my computer. I have no idea what's going on. I apologize for the view behind me. That is not my desk. Um, my desk has a lot more Disney pictures and framed pictures of Brian and random documents all over it. I can't show you because I'm not going to pick up that thing, and maybe some other time you can see the disaster that is my view. I was watching Ben's video yesterday. Hi, Brian. And he touched base on something that was of near and dear to my heart. And he just kind of throwaway comment, and I know it's something that confuses a lot of people, so I asked, hey, do you mind if I clarify this? And he's like, no, go for it. So um, I wanted to touch base on ligatures. We talk about them all the time, or we see them all the time, especially when it comes to reenactors and handwriting. So I just wanted to give you guys some facts and do with them what you will. The first thing is Thorn. I know he definitely mentioned Thorn. I know Ben is very fond of Thorn and is very good at writing Thorn, which I am not. Thorn is a shortcut that appears in the Middle Ages, and it is and continues all the way up until about 1800. After 1800, you don't see it. Honestly, in the 1750s, it starts to eke its way out, and it's only sentimental printers or printers who have old type that don't want to upgrade or replace, especially in rural areas. You're going to see Thorn last longer than in other places. I apologize if my cats are coming in and out. They're being cats. So it's a Y that is indicative of a TH. So rather than set THE, you just write YE, much shorter. And that's why when you see the word ye, and the people love to come in, and it drives me absolutely nuts. And they're like, oh, ye old timey. I'm like, no, sweetheart, it's the. I don't know why that bothers me so much. It shouldn't, but it does. Yeah, Brian, there's Louie behind me. I don't know where Decatur went, but the little black cat, today's his birthday, Friday the 13th. And hopefully he'll stay off the desk this time. Anyway, um, you will see that TH being written as a Y, and then there's like tiny letters set on top for that, and there's a few other shortcuts that are used. Like I said, by the 1700s, you don't see it nearly as much. I start to see it fade out late 1690s. One tenet I hold very dear is there's no such thing as everyone does this, everything is this way. There's always exceptions to the rule. There's always people doing this when everyone else is doing that. We have it in the modern day. We had it in the 1700s. We'll continue to have it. So don't take that as a slight, and nor should you take anything I'm saying as a slight, nor am I trying to correct anyone's behavior. I'm just trying to give some facts. So final S. I know not everyone took Latin. I don't blame you. It was a boring topic. Like, Quicquilla team dictum sit altum videtur. At the end of the day, it's not terribly important unless you're doing translations. But the reason it comes up for me is because in Latin there is a rule of the rule of final S, and that is the word ends with an S. Stop. That is why in English we pluralize. We put an S at the end of the word. Now, when we are talking about shortcuts, we're not going to break the rules of Latin. So when we have ligatures, and I need to clarify one point, and that is a ligature in the 1700s is different than a ligature in the 18, 19, 20th century, or 1800s, 1900s. You guys understand what I'm trying to say. In the 1800s, ligature starts becoming known as a way of, hi Lewis, decapitating someone. It's a slice across the neck using a rope or string. Not the case for 1700s. In the 1700s, let me remove my cat from my desk. In the Ligatures. It's a printer's shortcut. I disturbed a lot of friends when I was telling them, oh, I'm going and doing this study on ligatures and tombstones, and they were very worried. So I like to clarify that point. The ligature I'm talking about has nothing to do with decapitation. It has everything to do with printer's galleys. So they're shortcuts. The best, most common example I have for shortcuts, there's really two. Ampersand, which less people are familiar with. It's that squiggly S with a line through it. You see it oftentimes used as an and, especially in a formal thing. I don't have an example of it, but ampersand is actually and per se, and, which is why it always amuses me when I have to put it at the top of wedding invitations, because it's like, oh, bride and per se, the groom. We just now know it as another way of writing the word and, rather than A-N-D, you get that cool squiggly thing that I can't draw. And the other one that's much more common, everyone recognizes it nowadays, is at. The at symbol, it's A with the T wrapped around it. Super weird. I don't understand where they came up with that one, but there we are. That is my easiest way when I'm explaining these shortcuts to people and I mention at. They're like, oh, okay, I get it now. It's just a shortcut to have to write less letters. So there's technically 26 ligatures. Honestly, you really only use about 5 of them, and most of them have to do with the letter S, because we use a lot of S's in our language. We're very fond of that letter. That's why it's in the center of the keyboard. So what a ligature technically is it's a little, it's all by itself. When the printers are printing, they have to set every single letter, every single space, every single punctuation. It's tedious. Rather than have to do an A, a C, and a T, they can do A, C, T are connected. Those two letters are going to be connected one way or another. Sometimes with a little tail. CT is honestly one of my favorite ligatures, and I grabbed one of my children's crayons because I knew that I'd need to draw. So in ACT, you see how that, well, there we go. See how that guy's little connected? So he'd be all one piece of type. This is where everyone gets confused, because S. There's 2 ways that you'll see S. Caslin decides to make it terribly confusing, and everyone uses his type, and there's a beautiful letter that I have here on my desk that I will probably not type out because it's really long, but I could copy the document and put it somewhere in the Wax Seal Society if people have it of interest, and it's basically a letter from a gentleman in Parliament going, these shortcuts are dumb and y'all need to stop using them. No one listened to him, but it's a great letter. So F's are F's. All the F's are just F's. F's are going to have their little crossbars. They're going to, oh, there we go. No, there we go. They're going to look like the letter F. Everyone gets confused. I just realized my ballet is still on. Let me turn off that music. I apologize. Let me try to turn off the music. There we go. A lot quieter. Sorry about that. So the S can have 3 different things. It can stand above the line, it can have a tail, or it could have half a crossbar. And I went and wrote on a curve, so it's harder to read. It's just another piece of paper. Here we go. So Brian said something fascinating. Oh, I love necessary. Honestly, I still love Axe. Axe is my favorite. Access is my second favorite, just because Access makes everybody go twitch just a tiny bit. So all 3 of those are F's. All 3 of them. Not F's. Wow. Should have drank water first. S's. They're all the letter S. All 4 of them are letter S's. This guy has a little crossbar. Sometimes the long S can have a crossbar, but only half of one. It's only going to be crossed halfway. So when you have something like SH and it's crossed halfway, that's SH. That's probably for like the word short or sure, I don't know. The one that confuses people is ST, because optical illusion we see that half crossbar and then we see that full crossbar and we just automatically make that a whole thing. And when we're looking at it in very tiny print, there are times where it's really hard to tell that it's a half crossbar. I was reading, I don't even remember what document it was in Common Sense. It was probably this one. Yeah, it was. It was this one. It was the inquiry into the British, the rights of British America and the colonies and blah, blah, blah. And came across a word and was like, wait, what? It happens. And I read 18th century documents daily. One thing, and this was actually the whole reason I wanted to do this little video, was because this is a printer shortcut. This is something that was done in typeface. It was not done in handwriting. This is not something people were writing all over the place. Oh, there's all kinds of emojis happening. I don't even know what that was about. So the only times I've seen them in written examples is printers, postmasters, and fun fact, at least in the major colonies, all the postmasters were printers. I haven't looked into colonies like Rhode Island. I haven't looked into once Vermont splits off and they have a postmaster. I didn't look into his biography yet. I probably could now. I got distracted reading other things. But for the major colonies, all of their postmasters were printers. Not all printers are postmasters. A little bit of a difference. All of them, in their handwriting, they're using long S's all over the place. Clerks of the court, they will constantly use long S's, and I like to equate them to secretaries in the 1950s using shorthand. I learned shorthand. I also learned to type on a typewriter, so maybe I'm just dating myself really, really hard. I don't know many people who also use shorthand, particularly in the modern day, but clerks of the court absolutely did. I encounter handwritten long S's in lawyers and really just gentlemen who were doing a whole lot of reading. Some authors, not everybody though. Tommy Paine, bless his drunken little heart, he didn't write long S's, at least not in the documents I've read of his handwriting. I'd love to see some documents, if you have any, that show me otherwise. And I just realized I have ink all over my hands. Sorry about that. So it's, the only time I really, really see it in handwriting is modern day reenactors. They live for it. And I encourage to a point. Brian uses, and I shouted out to him last time, so I might as well this time. He uses them in his handwriting, and it's just pretty, and that's just how it works. He needs to stop doing it so much in the 19th century, but that's a whole nother conversation. It's not as commonly done, but that doesn't mean everything's wrong and you shouldn't do it. I like to think of it as salt and pepper, just a little bit. You're seasoning your document. You don't want to do every single word with a long S unless you're really showing off how awesome your handwriting and your skills at writing long S's are. I actually think I covered all the things on my little note. I left myself a note this time so I wouldn't ramble and get too off topic. I have, of course, tons and tons of printed examples of them. I grabbed this one because this one's nice and big print, and even then, oh, there it goes. But see how that worshipful, yeah, worshipful of the court at the top of the page? That's an SH, and you notice how it's connected? And there's some more. No, it's not gonna, because it's not. It's fine. I'll scan it. I'll post it in the comments. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll come back to you. And now I sound like somebody on YouTube. So I'm going to end this video and go drink some water. You have a great night.